Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Conference Tracker Text Tuesday, After Action Certificates and CEUs. Today's presenters will be myself, Chad Blodgett, Business Development Manager, as well as Garrett Effers, one of our support software representatives. And as you may know, or maybe you don't, we actually do these Tech Tuesdays every third Tuesday at 1 Eastern. Not only do we have a tech talk from the Conference Tracker experts, we also go over any type of new Conference Tracker announcements, and we also have a live Q&A session at the very end where you can ask any type of questions that you have regarding Conference Tracker. Now, before we begin, just to let you know, if you registered and or have shown up to today's webinar, we're actually going to be sending the recording of today's presentation, so be on the lookout for that in your email. We also, you may have noticed, have kept everyone muted for the entirety of the presentation just to keep the background noise to a minimum. And if you do have any questions, please submit them really at any time. You don't have to wait till the end, although we will go over the questions at the very end. Now, to submit a question, all you do is click on that orange or red arrow, go down to the questions section and enter your question there. And again, at the end, we'll be going over those questions. And now we're going to get into today's tech talk. So one of the probably most commonly asked question I get for at least a new Conference Tracker users was the difference between a certificate and a CEU report. And usually the way that I explain it is that a certificate is more of a certificate of attendance. Now it does show which sessions the attendee went to. It does give you a total of the credits earned, but most use a certificate as a certificate of attendance. And if you're doing credits, normally you would use the CEU report, because the CEU report not only lists the sessions they attended, but also a credit per session as well as the total. Some conferences actually will use both. They'll send out a certificate of attendance, but they'll also do the CEU report. Now, especially if you're a new user, or maybe you've gotten into your account and you realize I can't find the certificates or the CEU reports in your admin dashboard, that's because it probably isn't enabled. So one of the first things you have to do when you go to set up your account, if you go to Conference and Setup, scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says Other Features Visibility. You can go ahead and check which of these features you want to actually see in your dashboard or on your front admin page. So same thing, if you don't see badges, you don't see invoices, this is where you would go to make sure that it's visible and you can use that particular feature. We're going to get into the designing of the certificates in the CEU reports. So to get there, you just go to certificate or CEU report, whichever one you're deciding that you want to use. Click on design and then create. And that's going to actually prompt you to choose a design. We have quite a few different built-in designs you can choose from, but you do have the ability to upload your own design as well. Now, once you're in the designer, you can choose the size and orientation of your certificate. You can add any text fields really anywhere within the certificate, as well as using keywords such as first name, last name, name of the conference, the full name of the attendee. And something that's new, we actually can do proper case. So, if you've ever had this issue where an attendee has registered or you've uploaded your attendees, but when they registered or signed up, they used all uppercase, we can actually fix that here by saying I want to use proper case. So if they did submit their registration using all uppercase, it will fix that on their certificate, their CE report, also within the badge design. You also can add any images onto your certificate. So whether it's your conference logo, maybe the a signature, picture of your signature for the authorized signature at the bottom, add any image. And something else that's new, we actually added snap grid lines. So you can actually turn on the snap grid lines and it allows you to align your images or your text to make sure that you're centered. And Garrett's going to be going over this with you and he'll kind of show you how that works. Now you also, if you're going to be using the CEU report, you can actually customize that CEU table, right? So once you get into the table itself, some reasons why you might customize this is because maybe you want to add a different credit type, or some add like a session ID code next to the session name, or Maybe it's not CEUs, it's CMEs or CP or credit hours or PD. So you can add any type of a column to that CEU table or change the text that's actually within the table itself. Now, the setting of default templates, this might be new to some of you, but if you wanted attendees to be able to generate and download their own certificate or CEU report, one thing you'll need to make sure is that you have set a default certificate or CEU report. The way that you get there is you click on the certificate, click on design. You'll see a button there that says set defaults, and you're going to be able to set the default certificate or CEU report for your attendee. This lets Conference Tracker know when the attendee is trying to download the certificate, which template design that you want to apply. So now let's say that we've designed our certificate, our attendance has been taken, we want to get our certificates out to our attendees. One of your options is actually physically printing out the certificates for your attendees. The way to do that, just go to certificates or the CEU report, whichever one you want to print, and click on print reports. Now there's a few different options when you're printing your report. You can print out a report by role. So I could say all attendees I want to receive or I want to print out this certificate for. Or it could be a group of attendees. Maybe you grouped your attendees by member, non-member. Some conferences will group their attendees by maybe credit type or by state, depending on maybe I want a certain attendees of maybe I don't know of a particular state to get a certain certificate that has information about that state on it. Or it could be a specific attendee, or I can print out reports for only specific attendance to certain sessions. So you have quite a few options there. Now the two options below, you also can say, well, if an attendee came to our event but didn't go into any sessions that received credits, I want to exclude them from receiving or from, in this case, or printing out a certificate for them. Some conferences, you have attendees come and you have some sessions that are credit based, some that you just want to track the attendance to see who came. And if you have an attendee who didn't go to any sessions that received credit, maybe you don't want them to receive a blank CE report or blank certificate. Also, if you have a requirement that attendees must complete the session evaluation to receive credit for that session, that is another option here as well. So that little toggle, I think the very last one, if the attendee did not complete the session evaluation for that session, it will not show up as being attended and getting credit for on their certificate or their CE report. So a quick tip, if you are going to have that particular option, you always want to do like an email blast or like a push notification to your attendees to remind them, please make sure you complete your session evaluations to receive credit for sessions you've attended. And probably the more popular option is the emailing of your certificates and CE reports. So really locate in the same area, certificates or CEUs, just click on the email reports option. And all the options we just went over for printing are going to be the same for emailing. So I can say only those who complete the session evaluation or those who didn't get credit won't get an email with the certificate. All the same options apply to the emailing of the reports. The difference is you actually can personalize the email that's coming from Conference Tracker and going to your attendees. So you can say who the email is from or apply to, a subject, an email message, and within the email message, you can use keywords such as like first name, full name, so you can actually personalize the email message that's going out to your attendees. So now we're going to go over the do-it-yourself certificate and CE report. So to actually turn this on, we had mentioned it earlier, attendees now, and have for a while, been able to download and view their own certificates or CE reports as long as you have it enabled. Well, this is where you can actually enable that. So if you have our attendee package through the app or through the attendee web portal, the attendees can actually download and generate their own certificates. The way to turn that on is if you go to advanced options and settings and then general, it's under the widget section, which you're going to be able to see allow users to generate their certificate of attendance or allow them to generate a CE report. There's also the third option there, allow them to generate their own badge as well if you want to enable it there. Now, same helpful tip. If you want attendees to know that you have the ability to download your own certificate, You can use the email broadcast option, or again, send push notifications to your attendees to let them know that this is an option. They're not going to be receiving an email maybe or a printed certificate. They can simply download it themselves from the attendee app or the attendee web portal. And now I'm going to go and we're going to hand things over to Garrett to actually go over the demonstration portion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chad. And what a wonderful presentation. That was a great breakdown. So today we are going over your certificates and CEU reports, right? And we titled this After Action for a very specific reason. Your role as a conference organizer, you have a lot of hats within your organization. You're managing a lot of tasks. And so being able to spread out your workload is very important. So your certificates and CEU reports, although they are important, designing them can wait until after your event because you're going to have to go through all of your attendance logs before you get to the point of emailing and distributing them out. So to start with, like Chad told you in the presentation, I'm going to show you briefly how to enable these features for visibility. So we're going to be going to Conference Setup. And down here at the bottom underneath all of your conference information, you have all your power toggles. And down here under Other Features Visibility, you have your visibility for your check-ins, your handouts, your invoices, badges, and of course, the most important thing that we're talking about today, the certificates and CEU reports. Now, of course, when you're turning these on, right, always remember, save your changes. It's very important. And then you'll see these things pop up in your menu down here below. So first, we're going to take a look at the certificates. So if you step into the design here, you have your create option as well as your defaults. Now, this is one of the most important parts of setting your certificates and your CEU reports up. Once you have a design in the system, you're going to want to come in here and set the defaults for your attendees and for your other roles within the system if you're going to allow them to generate their own using those toggles that Chad showed you a moment ago. Once again, save your changes, very important. So of course, like he said, you have a bunch of different design options within the system. You can customize your name of your certificate as well as a description if you have multiple people stepping into the system and you want to leave them a note. And then you have the certificate designs that you'll see first. I've already gone ahead and picked one out and kind of set it up for us. So here you have your name, the attendee's name, of course, the name of the conference, and this is where it's going to show them the sessions that they attended and their total number of credits. Now, the CEU reports, like Chad talked about, it really gives you a further breakdown. So once you create these within the system, you'll notice that you have access to this table here. And this table is fully customizable as well. So if you have extra information attached to your session, maybe a session ID or a second type of credit, we can also edit this table down here below by just clicking this little plus button to add another column and then editing our header. So if this would be the title, in this case, you would say something along the line of session type. And then we would reference your custom field here. So in this case, it would most likely be something along the lines of user custom field 2 or session custom field, because this is session type, my bad. And then of course, down below, when you're editing the text boxes here on your editor, going back to those nice little settings that Chad mentioned earlier, beyond the font size and font type and your alignment, you also have some really nice settings down here. Your text wrap is great to use on your full name fields for those extra long names. This applies to all of your designers within CT, so your badges, your invoices, certificates, CEU reports, things of that nature. As well, you have text case. So like Chad said, you know, when your attendees come through registration and maybe they forgot what the caps lock key was, we can put some uniformity to our CEU reports and select the difference between uppercase, lowercase, and proper case, being the first letter capital and the rest lowercase. Default, of course, is going to be whatever's in the system. So if their name is in all caps, that's how it's going to appear on their CEU report. So I encourage you to use proper case or upper whenever you're available. Now, of course, as well, like Chad said, if you have your own design or if you're setting up multiple designs for different groups of attendees, your template here is a background image that's located right here down below. And you can remove and upload your own device, your own background image whenever you're ready. Now, the next important thing here, right, we have our designs in the system. We've come in here and we've set our defaults for our certificates and our CEU reports. The next step is going to be distribution. How do we get these out to our attendees? So if you are printing out physical certificates and CEU reports and distributing them by mail or there at the event, you can come down into print and you can select a mass kind of print. So printing to a specific group, people of a specific role, users who attended a specific session, and then going into the more specific settings, are we excluding the attendees with no credits earned? Maybe like Chad said, they didn't attend any sessions that were awarding credit, or maybe they signed up and they didn't come. Something happened with their flight, they were a no-show. So you can also exclude those people as well. And of course, the setting to only give session credits to attendees who have completed the evaluation survey. This is going to tie into those session evaluations that you can set up in the attendees tab in the menu. Now, of course, once you generate, it's going to load you a PDF down here at the bottom, and you would click the link that pops up and it'll show up in your downloads folder. This goes for both your print certificates and your print reports. Now, if you're emailing these reports out, these certificates out, if you're just using one or the other, you have an option under both menus. If you're emailing certificates, you have this very recognizable menu that we were just looking at a second ago. And once you click generate here, it's going to show all the individual PDFs. So if you want to inspect one before you send them out, as well underneath the generation, it's going to pop up that customizable email template. So you can use all the customizable keywords in your template to customize it specifically to your attendee, thank them for coming, and of course let them know that if they need any changes, they can reply back to this email. Now, if you go into the email reports, there is one extra interesting setting here at the bottom. So in the case that you're using both the certificates and the CEU reports, instead of emailing your attendees twice, we have this nice setting down here so you can only send out the one email, and you would include your certificate as the first page, and then select your certificate design. This is going to give them both their certificate and the CEU report in one PDF download instead of two different emails. And of course, the same thing that we saw above applies. So once you generate, it's going to go ahead and show that email template for you to edit with all of the special keywords. And of course, I recommend you preview these. There is a show preview button. Please preview your emails before they sent out, because once they're sent, they're gone. You can't take them back. And then of course, down here, you would email your reports. Now, let's look into those settings that Chad was talking about, the do-it-yourself settings, right? If you step into advanced options and settings, and we step into general here, down here at the bottom, we have those settings to allow your users to generate their own certificates and their own CEU reports, as well as the setting to allow users to generate badges. So if you don't want to do the printing, we can allow the users to generate their own badge, print their own badge in advance of the event. But this is also the toggle setting to allow them to generate it within the app if you have the attendee experience package. So of course, save your changes, right? And what you're going to see there is the attendee, once you enable those settings, the attendee with the attendee experience package will be able to log into the portal here, and they'll have buttons on their dashboard to go ahead and print and download their certificate. So with that, that really takes care of all of our CEU report and certificates from the beginning to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Chad to take us out.
Thank you, Garrett. 1 second. Let's see, share my screen again. Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Garrett. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're about to get into our Q&A section portion. I see we do have a couple questions already. I just want to let everyone know before you leave, if you're not going to stick around for the Q&A, Again, we did record today's presentation, so we're going to be sending that to you in case you want to watch it again, or maybe someone wasn't able to join and they wanted to see it. You'll be able to send them that recording. Also, when you leave, you're going to be redirected to a survey. If you could please, if you haven't already, or if you have anything new to say, give us some feedback on our Tech Talks. It definitely helps us know, what you like about the Tech Talks, maybe what you don't like about them. So we're going to get into the questions now. And the first question, I think we briefly went over this. Someone asked, how do I upload my own certificate design?
Absolutely, yes, that's very important. So when you step into your designer, this goes for both certificates and CEU reports, you're going to come in here and you're going to use the three dots menu, go straight to your design, remove your image, and then upload a new one. Oh, I wasn't sharing my screen, my bad.
There you go. You're good.
Okay, everyone can see? Okay, let me step back. So when you step into your designer for certificates and CEU reports, if you come into design, you can come down here and you'll see your background images available for you to remove, and then you would upload your own. Let's see here. Let's see how we're doing in the question box. So the next question, where do they download their own? Okay, so the last thing we talked about there was those generate your own certificate settings. Once you enable this, as long as you have the attendee portal package, they will be able to come into conftrack.com, that's CONFTRAC.com. They'll be able to log in, and on their dashboard at the very top, they'll have buttons to to download their certificate or CEU report, whichever ones you enabled.
Perfect. Thank you, Garrett. Another question is, how do you send push notifications? I'm guessing because we mentioned this as a helpful tip a couple of times. They're asking how would you actually send those off?
Absolutely. So from the menu, if you come into attendees, you have push notifications down here near the bottom. And then you can, when you set these up, I of course recommend that you set these up in advance and schedule them. Once you set up your title and your message, you can actually specify which audience you want to send these to. So if you just want to send it to a certain session or a certain group of people, or a specific message to different groups. And of course, down here is that scheduling that I was talking about.
Great. Thank you, Garrett. Let's see if we did have another one. Okay. Yeah, so how can I save the certificates locally? So yeah, a question we get asked pretty often is whenever our conference is over, maybe that we do send out the certificates, is there a way that we can save it locally just in case we need to have access to them again? And Garrett's about to show you how to do that, but something else to know is we do have a post expiration mode. So it's a great idea to save them locally, but also just know you're going to have access to your certificates to be able to send them even after your event is over and the expiration date is hit. You'll still be able to go in there and email or print out your certificates.
Absolutely. So once you come into your print, and this is in either menu again, this is the defaults that you see in the system for each design that you select is going to give you all of your certificates or CEU reports for all attendees within the system. This is regardless of group, regardless of session. You would generate, of course, like you saw me do, it was nice and quick. And once you click here, it's going to open up the PDF, and then you'll have a button over here in the corner to download.
Great, thank you, Garrett. I believe that's all the questions that we have for today. If you do have questions later, maybe we'll go back and watch this video, you're thinking about it, and you do have some additional questions, you can always contact, let me share my screens for the PowerPoint here really quick. Here. You can always contact our support team at conftrack@engineerica.com, or maybe you have questions about licensing, about certain packages, you want to see a demo of any of these features, you can always contact me at chadb@engineerica.com. Again, we're going to be sending out this recording as soon as it's available, so sometime either later today or tomorrow. I really appreciate everyone coming. and I hope that you're going to be able to join us for our next Tech Tuesday. For everyone, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Have a great day, everyone.